Welcome to episode 12 of the Power of Practice podcast. Goal setting and goal getting. Part 1.
Welcome to the Power of Practice podcast with Matthew Tweedy. Discover how to leverage the potential of your unconscious mind so you can create an abundant and empowered existence. Here's your host, Matthew Tweedy.
Hi gang, and welcome back. And thanks for joining me again for another session. I know I always say a fascinating topic, but I really have a deep connection to this topic because, it's so important. The topic today, if you've already read the description, the topic today, you'd already be aware, is all about goal setting. Goal setting for the purposes of getting your ideal outcome. Now, it would be pretty clear what goal setting is to you, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper. It's often the case, I know before I got into the art and science of hypnosis and NLP, I didn't really understand the importance of it. It's really about telling yourself consciously and being clear consciously, and then sending that message to your deeper mind of what it is you want, whatever context that is. So, health and fitness, relationships, career, family, spirituality, it doesn't matter. If you want to get what you want in any area of life, it's super important to specify and become very clear on the goal that you desire. Now, interestingly enough, I know I was unconsciously taught somewhere along the line that, you got to set your mind to what you want, but I never really placed importance on that and how specific we need to be. So goal setting is really all about getting clear, specifying that outcome to make it happen. The why would you want a goal set? Well, it's, again, one of those things that seems like a no-brainer on the surface, although if you understand the dynamics of your unconscious mind, of your deeper mind, it becomes a lot clearer as to why you'd want to set clear goals. I know counterintuitively, I would say something along the lines, probably 10 years or beyond ago, that, hey, I just want to go with the flow. I just want to live my life. I don't want to be planning everything and living by a list and not living authentically and true to myself. And goal setting, interestingly enough, is not about not going with the flow. In fact, quite the opposite. Because the strategy I'm going to share with you in a moment is actually a set and forget strategy. Again, seems counterintuitive, but let me go a little bit deeper. So when we're looking at goal setting with regard to your deeper mind, you may or may not have heard, depending if it was on a previous episode or you're a client of mine, that your unconscious mind is kind of like a 6 or 5-year-old child, very specific. Now, the unconscious mind being the part that regulates, physiology, emotion, memories, behaviors, everything that you do that's on that autopilot, which is most things that we do, honestly. Sad to say, but it's the truth. Almost everything that we do has been installed like an app on a smartphone, and it's running in the background. You don't have to think when you're tying your shoelaces, okay, this lace and that lace and this one over that one. It just happens. It's the same for when you jump in a car or, have a shower in the morning. It's all automated processes that have been installed. Now, your unconscious mind needs some repetition to install programs. That's often the case. Hypnosis can cut down that repetition dramatically, although it also needs a clearly defined outcome. If you think of a child and you think about teaching a young child of the age of 6 or 5 or 4, you would stress that child out. You'd confuse the child, or you'd make it very difficult for that child to learn. If you, a shrewd example I like to think of is, go and get my keys. And the child says, where from? And you say, over there. And they say, where? And you say, over there. And they say, where? And as you can see in this example, the child's getting pretty stressed out. I'm relating that back to some events that occurred for me as a child, and maybe that'd resonate with you. Go ahead and, I'd like to hear if you can think of any memories like that where you're a little bit confused, and maybe clear communication would have assisted your ability to absorb a transmission or a bit of information. Comment below. Go ahead, comment below if you can think of an event like that. I love to hear about your experiences. So, children don't like messy or unclear delivery of an instruction. It's the same as your deeper mind. I guess a nice way to put it is, if you give it a clear instruction, it's happy to deliver a clear result. If you give it a fuzzy instruction, or a messy or a sloppy instruction, guess what, people? Correct. Messy result. Well, certainly not exactly what you were hoping for. And another example that comes to mind that I think is really helpful, and I use this in clinics. So some of my clients, if you're one of my clients, comment below if you've heard this metaphor before. One of those examples that I find is super helpful to understand how your unconscious mind works is the drop pin example. We've all, or most of us at least, have used Google Maps or Waze or something like that. Imagine, I'm from Adelaide, so imagine jumping into your car at the hills and saying, take me east of the city. Maybe you speak that into the phone, or you type it in. Now, you're not going to get a drop pin anywhere. If it was a sophisticated enough program, it might give you a region, maybe anywhere 15 Ks around where you want to land. But I'm sure you're not going to be at the doorstep. And if you're in the rain, you're going to get wet. So you want to give that device, you want to give that application the specific coordinate so it can take you right there. I don't know about you, but other than time, energy is my most precious resource. I don't want to waste energy on having to maybe do the tidy up when really all I needed to do was get clear in my mind to begin with. When it comes to goal setting, that clarity of mind can often be the challenging part. I'll often speak to people in clinic, and we're defining goals, and many people have a roundabout idea of what they want, but many others, when asked, what do you want instead of that problem, instead of the binge eating or the anxiety or the depression or you name it, the chronic pain, what do you want instead? Now, with chronic pain, you say, yeah, I want to be pain-free, and that makes a lot of sense. With certain other habits, a lot of people can't answer clearly, and that's fine. It's just a muscle we have to build. But I guess that's where I'm headed, people, to let you know that this is all about muscle building. And if you know what exercise to do, such as what I'm just about to share, you can build that muscle, work it into your routine, and make your life so much easier. More energy. Who doesn't want more of that, right? So thanks for joining me for this episode. We have part 2 coming up next week, and certainly go ahead and tune into that to get the rest of the valuable information to help you goal set and goal get. This is Matthew Tweedy of Matthew Tweedy Hypnosis. Website, Instagram, Facebook, The Power of Practice podcast. Subscribe, rate and review. Primarily go ahead and subscribe. And then if you want, take a moment or two to review and tell a friend. If you've been enjoying this, they could also share in some of the success that you are gaining as you retune and redefine how you think and getting in charge of your brain. This is Matthew Tweedy saying ciao for now and keep growing and evolving.